this. So we're just going to go ahead and get started here. Very right off the bat, we're going to go over a couple of anecdotes, echoing orders, that kind of thing. Specifically on that, echoing orders, obviously. Things pass up the chain of command. If you ever have an issue, you're going to speak to your team leader. Team leader is going to speak to your squad leader. Squad leader is going to come talk to me. So if you ever do have an issue, make sure you talk to your directly superior individual, who at the time, echoing orders is simply the practice that if your team leader tells you something, you say something right back out loud so that the rest of your team can understand it. So team leader says go left, you're going to say going left, and then people are going to say go left, that kind of thing. Pretty easy to understand, right? So another anecdote is ACE reports. Who here knows what an ACE report is?
Crickets.
ACE report is what happens after combat. Make sure that your men are safe, their medical supplies are completely sated, make sure they have ammo, that sort of thing. Yes,
but specifically what it means for you four individuals will be so ACE is an acronym. It stands for ammunition, casualties, and equipment. If anyone ever asks you for an ACE check, you're going to respond something like
black,
green, fucking black. Green, black. So you have four different colors that you can say: green, yellow, red, and then black. In that order, it goes from 100%, 75%, 50%, and then 0%. We're going to go right along now. If you go ahead and press M on your map, I'm going to show you how to properly mark and how to understand things on the map. So first and foremost, we're going to go over how to identify contour lines, can't remember what they're called at the moment. Height, just height.
Elevation.
Kind of thing. Elevation, yep. Well, there's a specific name for it, which I just can't remember. I'm going to put down a red flag, and I want you guys to find that red flag. So this whole area right here is a mountain range. But specifically, what is important about this red flag? Can anyone tell me?
At the top of a mountain?
No, it's
yes.
not.
So,
No,
that was actually correct. So this hill right here is very strategically important, considering that is the highest point in, let me see here. This whole circled area, it is the highest point in that whole circled area as well. It gives you a view up to, I think, this is the range of which you can see, and that's no small distance. It's a very high point. It's a very strategically advisable position to be in. And the reason why I know that is because of these contours. Moving right along, there's some things that we got to keep in mind of this place, things to consider. Over to the west, there's a radio tower, which is identified by that marker on the map, as well as the compound around it. Very easy to tell. Another thing that you can keep in mind is these MSRs right here that are rolling around. MSRs stand for Main Service Road. These places that I just highlighted with the red line. So things about main service roads is that enemies come from them. That's their main avenue of approach. So always be mindful of that. Other thing, if you don't know, contour lines, which is what I was just talking about. These red lines right here are indicative of height, which is important. A bunch of red lines here show how high something is. So right along the flag here, there's a pretty steep incline upwards towards it, which is something to keep in mind of. If you look slightly to the southwest here in a little range that I marked, this is a pretty steep hill as well. It goes directly down into a valley, which you can tell because of the contour lines on the map. Pretty simple, right?
Yep.
Very fucking
Closer lines
cool.
are together.
Yep.
Steeper it is, just like
exactly. You're already better than a butter bar. Good job. Let's see. All right, so we're going to go over identifying buildings. I'm going to move, the red flag really quickly to a town. Pretty simple how to identify towns, but right over here, we have towns. I mean, all these gray blocks, obviously, those are buildings. Not hard to understand, but it's also important to understand how things are laid out, how we mark things. All these places, they're very clumped together, very important for CQB, that kind of thing. Very important. Keep saying that word, but it is very important to look on the map, see where things are, see what kind of height there is. So for instance, if we look over to the north of this town here, we have this hill, and overlooking this entire town here is a church, which could be a strategically advisable position, and this radio tower. If we were assaulting here, that might be places where a high value target was shacked up, that kind of thing. All right.
All right.
So if I move the flag right on back to where it was on this hill, I'm going to show you exactly how to mark enemy targets. So in this unit, we use a special system of marking things, which I think is personally one of the best systems to mark things. So let's say slightly up to the northeast of this flag, there was a squad of enemy infantry. Well, the first thing that I would do is I would place down this marker in the OPFOR color. This marker specifically stands for enemy infantry. It means there is an enemy type, and the color means that it is enemy. I have the OPFOR color on it right now. So a standard squad, about 10 people, so I would say 10x or 10 times the amount, so 10 people. The type of enemy is enemy infantry, so EI. And then up in the top right corner of your screen, you're going to see a time. So 14:51. Whoops. I promise this is not as complicated as it seems in practice. So if I break this down for you, I have marked a specific enemy location with a color, how many of them there are, what kind of contact there is, and the time that I reported them. Pretty useful, right? So if you hold down left click, you're going to spawn a little yellow marker, which you will track your mouse. You can know where shit is with that. Or you can double tap left click, and it will bring up a insert marker. Now you can change every single thing about this marker, what marker you're specifically placing. You can click on the dot and it'll change for that. You can click on the color of the dot to change what color it is. You can even change the angle of that marker from 0 degrees to the entire visible spectrum of 360, right?
Yeah.
You can also hold Alt and left click to move these markers around anywhere, and you can do this for anyone's marker. And to delete markers, you simply hover over them and press delete on your keyboard. So one last thing before we move on, you can hold Control and left click to write things like circles, generally write things. And you can also hold Control Shift left click to make perfectly straight lines. One last thing before we continue on here. If you're going to notice this whole area that I'm about to circle, what can you tell me about this green blob here? What do you think that is?
Grass.
It's foliage, which means that it can cover you. Specifically, it's trees. So you see these
That's
green
a large forest.
blobs. It is a large forest in this defilade. Yeah, so this is a very, very well-covered area right here. However, I'm going to talk about one last thing. So you see this red line right here in this defilade. That one, that contour line.
Yep.
If anyone ever says follow the contour or, follow along this contour, that just means follow along this stretch here, along it. Pretty simple to understand. Not like that. That's different. We're going to go ahead and move on really quickly to mountain medical, which is just medical self-preservation. So, medical self-preservation is the concept that before you worry about a down teammate, you have to worry about yourself and the well-being of the team. Only under extreme circumstances should you ever consider moving to a down teammate without cover or concealment and attempt to move them. Extremely risky and will most likely end with your fire team being in a worse position than when you started. If one person goes out to sacrifice themselves, if one person goes out to pick up a down teammate, well, that can turn into 2, that could turn into 3, and so forth and so on, and get an entire squad fucked, right?
Yep.
If the person you are providing medical attention to is still conscious, get yourself and your patient into a safe area where there's no chance of taking fire or getting hurt in the process. If your teammate is unconscious, you would want to move them yourself to a safe area and call for a medic. You'd be looking for one of 2 things before you move to a teammate. Cover, which is any physical surface that can prevent enemies from spotting and getting to you, or concealment, which is anything such as foliage, smoke, or even snow that would cover you from getting attacked by the enemy. One of those 2 methods of self-preservation should be thought of before you decide to go and carry off a down teammate. Providing your down teammates is without a doubt a high priority, but it's not worth tossing the entire mission out the window because your team leader went down in the middle of the field. Right? So specifically taking that scenario into account, if your team leader fails to get revived or is otherwise fucked, a new actual must be established. Someone has to step up and do it. Don't fight over who does it, just get it done. I don't care who does it, someone has to. You shouldn't plan to move on without anybody, but be ready and able to. Right, boys? One last little thing before we do something actually fun. If you have a medic who's providing medical attention to somebody, give them cover. Just give them a half diamond on them, give them some cover, that kind of thing. Don't help them unless they specifically ask you to. If someone gives someone a morphine without the medic knowing about it, that could lead to an overdose down the line.
The actual goes down, isn't there supposed to be a structured chain of command within the element itself?
So it is different in teams. So the actual chain of command is squad leader, alpha team leader, bravo team leader. But if you are just a squaddy in a team, if your team leader goes down, then someone from your fire team has to become the new team leader and has to take over the responsibilities from that team leader, right? So I'm going to spawn some boxes. Welcome to the Reese's patented box education theory. I'm going to show you how to properly bound. Some of you are already familiar with this method, but if you are not, that is a problem which you should consult your doctor about. So right here, we have boxes who are going to represent fire teams. So this box is one fire team, and this box is one fire team. Let's say that we have two fire teams huddled up on this piece of cover right here, this H barrier, and I want them to move forward. We are going to do something known as successive bounding. So this fire team right here is going to cover. They're going to say set. This fire team here is going to say moving. They're going to move, move, move until they find the next piece of available cover, which is just that one H barrier to our southwest. This fire team, they're going to say set. They're going to be like, all right, we're moving now. Moving. They're going to move over. Boom. They're back at phase one, where they're going to continue to do this until they reach the final target objective. That is successive bounding. Pretty simple, right?
Yep.
All right. We're going to go over alternating bounding. So I'm going to move these boxes back to their original starting point, and we're going to imagine them as individual people, like just a buddy team. If you look right here, buddy team. So one buddy is going to set security. The other buddy is going to start moving. So this box right here, security box. This box right here, moving box. Moving, 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 moving. Stop. All right, set. And then the original security box is going to be like moving, 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 moving forward past him until the next available piece of cover or concealment is available. And they're just going to keep doing that until they are reached at an agreeable point. Pretty simple, right?
Leapfrog.
Yes, sir. Leapfrog movement. So one last thing, we're going to go over peeling / contact disengage. So I'm going to spawn full fire teams of actual boxes. So what we're going to do here is we're going to teach you how to properly disengage from contact / peel off. So we're going to have a forward fire team who are up at some H barriers in front of us here, and we're going to have this fire team who is at this H barrier right here covering them. So we have a pretty standard scenario here where we have a bunch of people covering and a bunch of people who want to move back. You always want to have cover before you do anything. Blah. So the alpha fire team, which is the one that I'm standing right at, these line of boxes right here behind this cover, is going to be like, all right, Bravo, you are safe to move back because we are covering you. So they're going to be like, okay, and they're going to start moving. So peeling, just one person at a time, moving back, moving back, moving back, back, blah, blah, moving back into cover. And then Bravo fire team is going to take over for Alpha. They're going to set up the security where they originally were. Blah, blah. Bravo, blah, 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 blah. Alpha is going to start moving back until they find the next available piece of cover. You get the deal? That's contact disengage. We're slowly bounding backwards out of contact until we can safely disengage fully. You want to keep guns up towards that point of contact until you can't any longer, at which point you just fucking leave, honestly. Pretty simple, right? One last little anecdote to mention here is using smoke to maneuver, which is just concealing your position with some smoke and moving upwards. So, if you could all form a little school circle right around me here so I can brief you on what's going to happen now. If you look to the west, you're going to see an H barrier tower over there. What is going to happen is I'm going to be sitting in that tower and I'm going to be firing an M240 Bravo at you guys. What your guys' goal is, all four of you, is to bound all the way over to that H barrier tower while suppressing me and making sure that all of you can actually live. If you're going to move at all, anywhere, you're going to want to suppress where known targets are. Fun fact, while AI is being suppressed, they won't shoot back because they're scared for their fucking lives. That's good. You should make them scared. Make them be very, very afraid. So, does everyone understand what I want you guys to do?
Yep.
Yep.
Cool beans. I'm going to let you guys get oriented, figure out what you're going to do, and whenever I fire a shot into the air, you guys are good to start moving. Clear?
Confirm.
Clear.
Fucking kill, boys.
Okay, boys.
All right, we should
How do
divide
you
up
look?
into 2 teams.
Bill Ball and I, and then White and Carson.
You guys can move up first when that shots ring out, I guess. We'll take up the rear.
Okay, Ball, let's move.
All right.
Need suppression.
Holy crap. Freaking stand up.
Alright, let's move. Up. Alright, let's keep going. Shit, flag, hold on. Turn around.
You guys set? I forgot my mic was muted. Alright, let's push up north. Alright, we're set! Are you guys set? Get down, let's move. Alright, push up to the front barrier in front of them. Go. Alright, are you full on ammo? Alright. Start firing. We're set! Push up north, pushing up north. Bravo team, White. We're gonna push up on the left. Keep fire. Let's go, Norris. Let's go. All right. I'm pushing up, Norris. You on my rear?
Yep.
All right, we're set. You're clear. Stop fire. Cease fire.
So, I want to say that was absolutely fucking incredible. You guys always had suppression on me, except for the times where you physically were empty. Make sure to call out your reloads is all I can say about that. Coordinate that a little bit better.
Hey,
What's up?
I just want to say real quick, guys, don't be afraid to say, like, if you realize you're reloading that instant, call it out. Like, just be like, hey, stop, don't move, scream it. Just get those words out, and then your other team will realize, we'll grab each other and be like, fuck. And then we'll yell back, are you guys fucking ready? You know, there's always got to be clear communication. Just scream your heads off. And then when you know you're for sure ready, just say set. And then that gives us the go, because there's going to be loud noises, there's going to be gunfire. You have to be on top of it. And it's clear, concise. You can't. And then that's on us. When we get set, we have to make sure you guys understand what the situation is for us. So it's always communication is key, and we'll keep you guys safe.
Yep,
Okay,
exactly.
Sergeant,
Couldn't have said it
when am I
better.
gonna
What's up?
be able to hear again?
We are flying to our objective here. I want you to be mindful of the terrain that we're passing over. Think about if we were on top of these hills, how easy would it be to repel an attack if we were looking downwards? Adverse angle shooting is a skill that many people need to acquire in this unit. We are going to be fighting uphill, downhill. It's kind of our specialty.
Firing range, otherwise known as the enemy weapons vehicle and familiarization course. So, I'm going to run you through that, because I think it's the most interesting part of this entire training. If you will follow me. The enemy armor and weapons familiarization range. Here, we have a bunch of... Shut the fuck up.
Love the
Here,
range.
we have a bunch of enemy weapons ranging from the AKM all the way down to the SVD. Now, I'm going to give you a cookie if you can tell me the difference between an AKM and an AK-74.
One shoots
74
faster.
uses 5.56.
Now,
AKM uses 7.62 by 39.
so the AKM is a slightly modernized AK-47. AKMs came about in the 1950s, and they fire a 7.62 bullet, 7.62 by 39. That was a standard cartridge until 1974, when the Russian army or the Soviet army developed the AK-74, which fires a 5.45 millimeter cartridge. It's an intermediate cartridge, and it hits a bit. It hits a little bit less hard. Equipped with a muzzle brake, it's a bit more updated in terms of design, and both of these weapons are very, very common. Moving along, we have the RPK, which is basically just a big fucking AK. It fires a 7.62 bullet, and it just hits a little bit harder, longer barrel, that kind of thing. Excuse me. There's an RPK-74. It is a bigger AK-74, which fires a 5.45 bullet. Magazines are interchangeable between these platforms here. So you find an AK mag, you find an RPK mag. Pretty cool. PKM and a PKP. PKMs were common in the 1950s and 60s. They were the common squad automatic weapons for, Russian squads, that kind of thing. And PKP is a just slightly modernized, more updated version of the PKM, a little bit more reliable. Here we have a Dragunov SVD and a modernized SVD. Pretty easy to distinguish which one is which, bit more modernized system. I think, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that the modern SVD fires a 5.45. Can't recall though. Moving along, we have the static emplacements that we will be fighting against. Right here we have the 82 millimeter pod nose mortar. It's a mortar system which can be moved around very quickly, can be dismantled, broken up, that kind of thing. Here we have a Digit, otherwise known as the lawn chair of death. It is a lawn chair strapped with two iglas. It is a AA platform, and it fires 2 missiles towards an internal air asset. Pretty high priority if you want to do CAS and that kind of thing. More
That is
immediately
some
in
Soviet
your
redneck shit.
a little bit more in our immediate worry here. We have a Dishka, which fires a 308 style kind of round. It's a close enough to a 308, which I feel comfortable calling it that. Dishkas are very, very common, mounted on top of trucks, like on the static positions here, that kind of thing. And here we have a Cord, which is the Russian M2. It fires a slightly bigger cartridge than a 50 cal, and I can't recall what it is at the moment, but these things can punch through walls, heavy armored trucks, and they're very dangerous. They're very big, but they're also very, very unreliable. Moving along, we have an SPG-9, or a self-propelled gun. It's basically a big RPG. Fires a, if I'm not mistaken, 82 millimeter high explosive shell, I think. Big boy. It hurts a lot.
Aren't those wire guided?
No, these are dumb fire. Wire guided didn't come around for a while, but they're still a threat. Here we have a twin 14 millimeter ZSU-23. These things are aircraft killers, but they will not hesitate to fire on infantry. You will not survive against dual 14 millimeter high explosive firing at 1,200 rounds per minute. Won't. If this thing decides to target you, your vehicle, or your aircraft, it will kill you. So they're high priority targets, right? We have a bunker here, which I couldn't fit under the table, so I just moved it over here. It's an MG bunker with a PKM in it.
Sweet.
Not sweet, pretty hurtful. PKMs are hurtful. You should not forget that.
Oh.
So we're going to move on to
Flag.
vehicles now. And here we have
Technical.
the broadly defined category of technicals. A technical is a shitty truck with a shitty gun mounted on top of it. Very easy to distinguish what they are. You mark these on the map as EVICs, EVICs, otherwise known as enemy vehicles. This is a BTR-40, which I have included in the technical category because it is a shitty truck with a shitty gun on top of it.
Hey, this
It's got more armor though.
That's a Toyota Hilux.
Yeah. Looks just like my truck in real life.
Okay, here's a BRDM. BRDMs are they're basically Humvees, except Russian, and they're old as fuck. I think they were first proliferated through the 1960s, but I could be wrong about that. 20 millimeter gun here. It hurts, but you can take these out with small arms fire with an M60. Couldn't really have an M60 on you. We use 249s or 240s, but you can take these out with Bravo fire, SAW fire, that kind of thing. Moving on to the slightly more bigger targets here, we have BTRs. Now, BTRs are easily distinguished from other things by their wheels. They have 8 wheels, and they have a 20 millimeter gun on top, just like the BRDMs. Pretty much the same turret. just a APC platform. It's more armored, and you're going to see them a lot in shitty Middle Eastern countries because Soviet Russia sucks at fighting guerrilla wars. Here is a BTR 70, slightly more updated version of the previous BTR, which is a BTR 60. It's basically just a little bit more angular, a little bit more reinforced. Same gun, same that. But here we have a BTR 80. It is the most modern version of BTRs that Russia still uses to this day. Its cannon is slightly more upgraded, but otherwise than that, just a little bit more modern systems, that kind of thing. Here we have the AA version of the BTR 80, otherwise known as the BTR 80A. It has a 20 millimeter chain gun on top of it, which hurts a lot. Moving right along, we have BMPs, which are distinguished from BTRs by their tracks. These are basically tanks, except without being tanks. They are APCs, broadest term. 20 millimeter cannons on top with wire-guided tow missiles. They hurt a lot. This is a BMP-1 right here with the white tow missile on top. Moving one generation forward, it is a BMP-2. BMP-2s are very easily distinguished from BMP-1s based on the white tow missile on top and the yellow tow missile on top, right?
All right.
And one more in the APC category, we have BMDs. BMDs are much more modern. They are currently in use with the Russian military, and they are used to cross rivers and just fill that general role. Same thing applies from the BMPs. You can distinguish BMD 1s and 2s based on the white and yellow tow missiles on top. Holy fuck, that's a good biscuit. All right.
Must be a good
Here
MRE.
is the Army. The Army? Jesus Christ. The armored tank sections of what we fight.
T-34.
This here is a T-34. They're very, very shitty,
Ooh,
and even AT-4s would take these out. They're old, and we don't see them much. But they're cool, because they're very cast iron. Right?
They're fast.
They are fast. It's very weird. There's a T-55 here. They're a little bit more modern. You're going to see these in the hands of shitty Hajis and African militias everywhere because they're very easy to just leave behind. Moving one step above, we have a T-72, which is the most modern tank that we can expect to actually see consistently on battlefields across, shitty war-torn countries. Kind of thing. It's a little bit more modern. At the time, it was one of the most deadly tanks of its generation. And one more up, we have a T-80. I think this is a Russian T-80. We do have Chinese variants. T-80s are improvements on T-72s only in the fact that they're a little bit faster. I think their armor was a little bit better in the sloped angles. But I digress. Here's a T-90. T-90s, I think the most modern versions of T-90s are the best tanks in the world, besides like German Leopard 2s, I think.
Abrams.
Abrams are not the best tanks in the world. They're old as fuck. From in the 80s.
I thought the modernized Abrams were pretty up there with the T-90.
They're on par, but they're still not the best. And we have some Russian helicopters here. This is an Mi-8. It is a transport helicopter which can have rockets strapped to its side, and wow, that was hurt a lot. They can carry about a platoon's worth of people in them. And here's the Mi-24, otherwise known as a Hind. This is the Russian Apache, if you can call it that, but the Russian Apache is a little bit different. They actually have seats to carry a squad in them because Russian air doctrine is a little bit different from the Americans. Fun fact, the reason why the Mujahideen were so effective in the 1970s and 80s with their Stingers is because how Russian air doctrine worked is they would drop off a squad of people from these Hinds, and then the Hinds would just fucking hover over top the infantry, which is why the Mujahideen were able to just murder them so effectively with those Stingers. A little bit of interesting FUD lore there.
That is a really stupid fire maneuver tactic.
It really was, but it was the Soviets in the 70s. What can you expect?
Oh, what the?
That is not what I had wanted to do. I was
Take off, do it.
No, that would fuck him up. How did you do that?
How could you manage? Go down. Scroll wheel.
Oh, okay.
You scroll.
Can anyone tell me the definition of cover?
Bullets don't pass through it.
Well, it's anything that can cover you from bullets and directly protect your body. Can anyone tell me what concealment is?
Hide.
Concealment does not protect you from anything such as a bush. Their concealment covers you from the enemy eyes, pretty much. So, defilade, let's see here. Defilade is important because it puts cover in front of and above you. Defilade is a ditch, a slope, anything that can cover you that way, basically. It covers you from anything that isn't directly above you, which is important because defilade can save your life sometimes if we're in the right situation for it.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly go over skylining with you because we are kind of important to what we actually do. So, if someone was standing on top of that hill right there, how well do you think you could see him?
Silhouette would be pretty obvious, especially if there's a sun behind him.
A little bit. So Ball's going to go up there and demonstrate what skylining is. Skylining is anything that makes your silhouette visible against the sky. Can anyone give me reasons as to why hill advantage is one of the most important, decisive factors in hill combat?
High ground grenades can't come up this high without rolling back down. You can see the tops of their heads, and they have to, well, I mean, overhead cover is very necessary for them, which doesn't look like there's very much down there.
Ball. Can you give me a reason why you wouldn't want to attack an enemy who was up a hill?
You're not only fighting against enemy, you're also fighting against terrain.
Yeah. So, you don't want to fight against multiple things if you can help it. You want to make your battle as one-sided as possible in your favor. However, hill advantage is pretty cool because if you're the ones on top of it, they're going to be fighting you for the hill, which is always neat because you can see in a vast fucking direction. Look how clear this is. You see how far you can see? It's important. You have a practical 360-degree view. What's up?
Well, if you're on top of a hill, they can't tell how many of you there are up here as opposed to you looking down on them.
That's
because some of your guys could still be behind the hill.
Still something to consider, I suppose. It's more about putting as many hindrances in the enemy's way as possible while making your lives easier. It's the same reason we don't want to attack uphill if we can help it. Most importantly, it's just keeping this 360-degree vision, which we entire area from. Place right here, perfect for setting up an ambush. For example, if we come over here, we can set up a nice L-shaped ambush right on this road right here. It'd be a perfect candidate for it. So, let's say for instance that we were in this configuration of an ambush and we had some poor dumb motherfucker roll up in a convoy right on this road here. Well, they'd motor their pretty little asses on right up here. We'd let them get close, and then, bam, they would fucking die. Pretty cool. We have overlapping fields of fire here in our advantage, which is actually pretty important. Why we have hill control. It's because we're the ones who are in control of things. They fucking aren't. That's the whole point of warfare. Getting better advantageous positions on our enemies so that we can kick their fucking asses. At least 5 danger zones right now. Yes, like you said, there's a lot of threat areas, a lot of places where you can get shot from. This sucks. We are very, very open. We are visible to fucking everywhere in this whole town. We have open windows, open doors. We have places that we can be shot from where we won't even hear it until we're dead. That sucks. Well, one thing that you should be instantly aware of is danger zones. Right now, there's a bunch of fucking alleys right there. You see that shit? Alley City. We are the ones who should approach from that alley, and we shouldn't be the ones on this main road unless we can help it. Another thing that I should point out, open windows and open doors. If you see open doors, that's a place to keep your eye on. If you see windows, that's a place to keep your eye on. One trick that someone told me is whenever we were moving in an enemy place, you just pick somewhere, keep your eye on it until you pass it, and then you pick another place. It doesn't matter where you look, so long as that you're making sure that no one comes from a place, right? So what you just did there, Ball, is breaking up the enemy area, which I actually do a little bit differently. Good job that you did it, though. Not entirely inaccurate into how I would do it. It's just a little differently in my scenario. However, what we're going to go over right now is breaching and clearing houses and doors and shit like that. So if you will follow me, gotta find a good house for it, because I know there's one around here. Right here, perfectly fine.
This is like week 4 training for me.
Yeah, we're going to go over breaching and clearing and, room clearing, like that. So we do have a stacking order, but honestly, it shouldn't matter as long as the medic is not first. As long as the medic is not the first one in a stack, I don't give a fuck.
Well,
So, please all four of you stack up on this door, just one in front of the other. Other side.
oh,
Norris.
right side door. Oh, all right.
So how this is going to work is we have a point man. You're all going to stand up. Just stand up nice and tall for me there. Point man going to have his gun up facing this door. And the rest of you are all going to be facing outwards to give some 360-degree security if you can. You two going to be facing outwards. Last man faces, backwards as much as he can, as best as he can.
Carson, exactly. You're gonna be looking at the rooftops. So you're gonna keep looking at the rooftops and anywhere I'm not covering.
Yep. Yes, sir.
What about
So,
this window? How should we?
You could, but
well, yeah, you could do that, but let's say for this instance that window doesn't exist. It's a figment of
you'd be
imagination.
crouched underneath of it. The idea is not to appear. If there is someone, we know someone's in that building. You don't want to show yourself, obviously.
Yes, sir.
We
But
don't
for now,
know. I
let's
gotta
say that
pie
that
the room
window does
first.
not exist.
All right.
So, point man is going to be
Okay.
looking at this door. He's going to be assessing which way this door opens. You can tell which way the door
I
opens
don't
because
like
the
this.
handle is, on which side. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
I'd rather breach from the right side because of that reason, because the door will swing inward.
Well,
Yeah.
you can deal with it. So,
Yeah, that's a bad pie though, but alright.
360-degree security. You're going to be facing outwards. Remember that?
Oh,
So,
I'm
point
facing
man.
outward, right?
Point man's going to be like, all right, so ready, set. The first man in the stack is going to be like, set, faces forward. So that's you, Norris. Second man in the stack, fucking Carson. I
Swift.
don't remember your name. Sorry, Swift. Yes, you're going to say set, face forward. And then last man,
Set.
Wall is going to be like set, and then they're all going to face forward. Whenever every man in the entire stack has said set, then the point man will say breaching, 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 open the door, and they will all push in. So you're going to be on the point man's ass. You're not going to let him go in alone. Men who go in alone die alone. Want to be together at all times.
So if I may input something real quick, just so you guys know, the entrance of the doorway is called the fatal funnel.
And you're gonna
One
follow
set.
along with point man.
2 set.
3 set.
4 set.
Alright. Breaching, breaching, breaching! Second door here.
You're going to call the room as clear, and then you're just going to open this door, make sure everyone's ready for it. You're going to say opening, and you're going to move forward. You don't have to stack up, you're just going to go. Keep doing it. Make sure that you're on the point man's ass.
Staircase. Clear.
So,
There.
your room is clear, and you have a set of stairs. There's a separate scenario for it. So, how I always teach this, that might be a little bit wrong, but it's how I've always done it. The first man up is going to be looking up and backwards like this. Make sure there's no threats up here. Second man is going to be directly in front of this first man. He's going to be looking this way. So, if you go back down the stairs, first man looking this way, second man looking this way. And you're going to be together the entire way. Alright? So go ahead and do that.
Ready?
Ready?
Alright, move back.
Ah, who's gonna be second?
Everything looks clear.
Clear.
Got two
Just
doors
keep on
here,
moving
one left,
through.
one right. Watch that door.
I'm recording. Don't worry about me.
Left door
Be
is
mindful of this door here. Reaching.
Yeah, we're
My
clear.
dumbass has walk on still.
How do
Clear.
How do you change walk
Put
between
them all
walk
out
and?
when they're done.
How do you change between walk and? Because right now
You
I'm
can
in-
worry about that later. There's a second door here. It's a balcony.
I don't know how to make it where I'm not just only
Yes.
walking.
Just so you guys know, usually the last man in the stack
You
is
just
going to
do it
be
again.
your MG, your heavy gunner, and he's usually going to stay downstairs and cover the main entrances. That way you guys can finish clearing the rest of the building.
It's all relative. In situations like this, these houses aren't very good for that, but we make do with what we got.
So
There's one. What's up?
Norris here with the marksman rifle. Should he be second or third?
Realistically, he shouldn't even be going inside houses with a Mark 14. Especially with not a fucking, what is that, a 4 times optic? 14?
Yeah.
Whatever. So we're going to do another stack, and I just want to explain something quick. Go ahead and get back up. This time the windows
can't
do
frickin'
exist, so be
move.
very careful of those. We're going to go over breaching and clearing with throwables. Just really quickly, we're going to go ahead with flashbangs and frags. So obviously we don't have
What
any on
the
our person
hell,
right
man?
now. We don't have any flashbangs on us, so we're just going to go ahead and do it with frags. So that's a lethal form of breaching used if no civilians are present and we know that there is an enemy presence within this structure. Basically, the process is exactly the same. You're going to be like, all right, set. And then you're going to be like, all right, opening the door, frag out, doors open. You close the door, and you wait for the boom, breaching, go back in. Simple, right? Fucking A. So if you want to go ahead and do that right now, you're more than welcome to. I'm just going to sit right here and watch because I think it'll be funny.
Yeah, because we're gonna get fucking wasted because this open window here.
You can crouch. So go ahead and go
Alright.
through the procedure.
1 set.
2 set.
3 set.
4 set.
All right. Frag out. Breaching.
Clear.
I can only like barely move.
You gotta run forward and run back because you're still in walk mode. And when you aim, you can't sprint. Yeah, Staff
Alright.
Sergeant, I would have closed the door, but 501st made me reset my bind, so my fragging is fucking stupid. Yeah, you double tap G and then you have to
How
pull the
do you-
trigger on it.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Oh fuck. That's a bad nade! Carson! Hey, this is all nades. Hey, calm it down with fucking throwables.
I didn't know.
So, really quickly, I know you don't know, but chill, it's okay. Anytime you throw anything, you're gonna call it out. You throw a frag grenade, you're gonna say frag. You throw a smoke grenade, you're gonna say smoke out. There's an anecdote which I rely on. If it's a grenade, it's an enemy. If it's a frag, it's a friendly. You say grenade for an enemy grenade and a frag if you know what type it is, right? So if you hear grenade, well, you better fucking
Frag.
put your head down. Hey. Jesus
Wise
H,
words to live
boys.
by, Ray.
So, whenever we are moving in an urban terrain, we're not going to stick to these main roads. Yo, White, get your ass over here, boy.
Making
We're not
sure
going
it
to be
wasn't
sticking to these
in.
main roads. If at all possible, we're going to be sticking to these back alleys where we can't really be seen. Up.
Alright.
So, now that you're out here, you're a little bit less exposed than on a main road, so we're just going to continue right through here. But like I said, main roads, bad idea. That's where enemy movements come from. We come from the alleys, from the fucking shadows, from houses. What we do is we pull 360-degree security as we're moving along. So right now, where the fuck is White? Brent, motherfucker.
Keep talking, sir. I'm listening.
I'm not a sir. Don't call me that shit.
Well,
Didn't
yeah,
earn it.
Staff Sergeant. God
I
damn
still
it.
didn't earn that either, but whatever. So, in a mountain environment, in an urban terrain, we're not going to clear every single building that we come across. We're only going to clear ones that we suspect of having enemy combatants inside of it. If we see a fucking broken window with someone who are moving about all suspicious-like in there, well, you might want to clear that building just for the funsies. Unless your specific operating procedures for that mission says to clear an entire town, don't waste your time doing so. Right? You eating something, Carson? In urban terrain and urban environments, you are not going anywhere alone. You're going to have a buddy team with you at all times, so you're going to be with one other person at least. If you're not maneuvering in a squad-sized element, that's what you're going to be with, your team or your buddy. So, in places like this, roads are obviously the most likely avenue of approach and are patrolled by enemy vehicles, armor, that kind of thing. Whenever possible, maneuver through back alleys, backyards, any alternate routes available. When moving through a mountain environment, obviously it's not necessary to clear every building, blah, blah, blah. Call your danger zones. So call, an open door, a fucking window right over there, an alley, which is right there. These open windows, for example, that's a danger zone. Call that shit out. and people will reward you for it. Now, if we were to actually be moving through this area, we would be using bounding. We would be covering everyone as we move, but I'm not going to make you do that right now because it takes a fat while. Covering
What
danger
about
areas
danger
is
crossings?
LDAs are a little bit different. So we're going to go over that actually really quick. Thanks for reminding me. So if I could have one buddy team come up right here with me. Cool beans. Take out your rifle. So what you're going to do is you're going to look one way, crouch. You're going to be watching one direction. One man looks one way. The other man looks another way. With enough space in between. Nope, just crouch. Come on. With enough space
used
in
to proning
between
it,
you
sir.
for the rest of your team or squad to move through. So if you two were a little bit closer, it's okay. Feel a little bit friendly with them. It's fine.
Well, I'm assuming there's a larger force.
So that's fine right there. So what you want to do is stand like that. Get over there on the other side, north. With your buddy over there. Ball. Nope, you did it wrong. Get back here. So
I could have just muzzled you, bro.
you don't want to walk in front of someone's gun. You walk between them in this nice little convenient open space, right? So go ahead and get over there and set security the exact same way. Bing, bam, boom. They are set, and now the original buddy team can stand up, haul their asses over, move right between them, and they
Second
can keep
team
going
crossing.
on their merry fucking way. Hell yeah, right? We do this on all roads that we think could pose an actual threat. You just keep right on moving along. We're happy and we're not dead. Cool, right, boys? So, go right back on down here. Give me a neat little school circle right here, boys. Does anyone have any questions about anything before we finalize here? All right. Silence is consent. So, with that, you three have passed your AMWS with flying colors. You know what you need to work on. You know what you need to remember.
God damn it, I always fail.
Officially privates. We actually have had people fail before. So you three are officially privates and you can be billeted places. What that means is that you commit your time to attend at least 2 operations a month to the unit. We expect you to show up more often, right? If you want to be billeted into a squad, you let me know right now, right? And I'll put you into 1-2 with Petrenko.